Hello, everyone. Welcome to the XMTP Developer Community Call. Again, thank you all for being here. I'm Jay Hai, work in Protocol Ops, and I'll be your host today. The call is being recorded for the convenience of those who can't attend live, and we'll post the recording to the XMTP Community Forums after the meeting for posterity. And I'll go ahead and put that link in the chat here. I'd also like to share a link to the XMTP Code of Conduct, which we observed during this call and all of our public gatherings in the XMTP community. And we invoke this code in hopes of creating a space where everyone feels welcome to share ideas and ask questions. And I'll go ahead and put that in the chat if you'd like to take a look. And we invite everyone who values open protocols, permissionlessness, and private and secure communications that we own and control to join our mission. And at the start of the meeting, I do a lot of link sharing, but they're great links. At the start of each meeting, we also drop an NFT on Zora. So here's the one for today. Feel free to mint for free. And so let's go ahead and get started with the programming today. We have two very special guests for our main event, Hack on Chat, XMTP, Converse Messenger, and MessageKit as a programmable open platform for developers. And so first we'll have Shane Mack, co-founder of XMTP and CEO of Ephemera, share a vision and mission for this platform, which we were sort of chatting about at the start of this meeting. And then we'll follow with Fabri Guespe, XMTP Dev Rel at Ephemera, who will talk more about the technology of the platform. So Shane, shall I hand it over to you?
Sure. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah.
Can everyone see my screen? On the new tab? Yes. You have it? All right. Let's dive in. So I'm going to talk about the three things today: the problem, the platform, the mission. And really, I think it all boils down to why we believe messaging must be open. But let's start with kind of making sure everyone has the latest apps. So if anyone needs to download the app, scan here, whether you're on Google or iPhone. These are the QR codes for both the apps. So, all right. I think this really sums up everything. That over the last 15 years, while there's been a lot of advances in encryption and security at the protocol level, what's happened is everything is centralized in these big tech applications. And I think we're all starting to realize that we don't own our communication and our messages are not yours. And it's crazy. We've been fighting for economic freedom in this space for over 10 years now, 15 with Bitcoin. Really, Ethereum's about 10 years old. And we will spend all of our effort to go build something and protect and work on our economic freedom. But when it comes to something as intimate as messaging is to our digital lives, we will literally use an app that's owned by one guy. And in some cases, one guy buys a company and then can read all of my DMs for the last 15 years. And that's scary. That's a pretty crazy realization of where we're at in the evolution of messaging. And I think what it's highlighting is that centralization is breaking down for the builders, for the creators, and for the users. Myself as a developer and a builder in the last 15 years on top of these platforms, I spent many years being the best partner, building on top of Twitter, and then on top of Messenger, and then on top of WhatsApp, and then on top of iMessage. And every single time getting the rules changed, getting the rug pulled, getting the kind of deal broken. And it always ended the same way, which was a private API that we got access to that we would build. And then as the centralized platform needed to change course or change the plans or make more money, they would take the things that were working, cut off the things that they didn't want anymore, or charge a crazy amount of money overnight for something that we really needed access to. And for me, it's like I woke up after 15 years and realized that I've been building on quicksand for 15 years, and it didn't allow us to build companies that lasted, or companies that really ended up mattering, because of building on top of these centralized platforms. For individuals, centralization has really become the inability to own your identity and to lose a username overnight, to lose access to a platform. And that problem has happened to many people all over the world across all these different platforms. The rules keep changing. And like we said, single people are actually making these decisions. And then at a geopolitical level, there are entire groups of people who lose access to their most important communication and relationships when entire networks can be shut down, who maybe don't believe in privacy or protecting our communication. And I think all of these are kind of coming together to realize that centralization is really breaking down in many different ways. If you want to go a little further, we have a movie scrolling thread here of all the different ways that centralization is breaking down. But I think what it really highlights is there is a single foundational shift happening that is pretty new in the world and is only possible really in the last kind of like 15 years, where we see decentralized financial networks like Bitcoin prove that you can have trusted and permissionless money at scale. And you have networks like Ethereum prove that you can have programmable money. And I think those two have proven that decentralized networks at scale can work. And so what I think it highlights is there's one new foundational shift that's happening that can actually bring together all the progress made in encryption and security with decentralization to create a new foundation for all of us to build the future of communication together. And that's what I think we're here to talk about today. And so there are many different things that kind of bucket into decentralization. You have different privacy, security, identity. You have new ways to put it all together, and then mix that with encryption. And really it's about ownership, and the ability to own and control our communication is made possible by decentralization and everything that comes with it now actually coming into messaging. And we can own our messaging like we own our money. And I think that shift is a really big shift that's going to unlock so many things for developers all over the world. And really, it's just about being more open. All of this was built in silos. The internet started very open back in the early days of the internet. And then for the social messaging era of the last 15 years, it went very siloed. And now we can't take anything with us across networks. We can get cut off from networks. We can lose access to our most important relationships and communication. And really, all these developers can't work together. There's no guarantee to kind of build your company on top of one of these silos and risk losing everything that you've built. And so I think not having any silos and being a more open network is really where we're all going. And it's cool. I mean, we're still early, but XMTP is now a little over 3 years old, and we already have over 2 million activated identities on the network across many different developers building all kinds of use cases, from inboxes to voting apps like Snapshot, to ways to send money like Family, to Coinbase Wallet, actually allowing you to have money and messaging all under the same identity and verify that the person you're sending money to is who they say they are and owns what they say they own. And there's all these really powerful use cases that have already happened in this whole ecosystem. And XMTP has really made that possible by being open and permissionless for everyone to build. And then, the new addition to the kind of the strategy is Converse. And, Paul and Noe have been building this app for, over a year, and really done a great job getting it to where it's at today. But now we get to invest a lot more in it and really go turn this into a world-class messaging app that is able to be used like a WhatsApp or a Telegram, and able to do a lot more. And so when you have an open platform like XMTP, and then an application like Converse, and then we chose to open source it. And so the most important thing we've done here is we're letting the community build with us. And if you want to use parts of it, use it. If you want to remix it, remix it. If you want to fork it, fork it. If you want to make Converse France, make Converse France. You can do whatever you want with it. And I think doing this in the open at the application layer is just a really impactful thing that no one's really done. There's been a lot of open source protocols and open source at the kind of the base layer, but when it comes to the app layer, people usually close source it, whether you're Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram, et cetera. And I think actually open sourcing this is a huge, huge step forward for everyone. And then the third piece of our strategy is MessageKit. And this is the ability for developers to be able to build applications on top of group chat, which is probably the most like ripe area for innovation that has always been closed. These centralized platforms have never allowed people to build on top of groups and our private messaging. And that's where all of our most important relationships live. And so when you start bringing together messaging that's secure with money that's secure on top of the place where we have all of our networks and conversations, these can become little micro economies. And I think MessageKit is the ability to take AI agents, bots, and applications and frames and put it all together and start creating experiences we never knew were possible on top of groups. And if you bring them all together into a three-piece strategy, I think our goal is to have the open protocol of XMTP, an open app that is Converse, and open developer tools that is MessageKit. And it's really cool to see these three pillars really start to come together, and it's all here today. The best part about everything we're talking about today is they're not hand waving like this is in the future, or someday we'll be there. This is all here. We can build. We're all building. This is live. This is in the App Store. You can go to messagekit.ephemerahq.com and use it. Converse.xyz, download the apps. xmtp.org, to look at all the documentation and all the examples of everything that's being built in the community. And this is all live today. This quote, I think, sums everything up. I love this screen. It's hilarious, one, but also it's just so true. Imagine if the internet wasn't open, we'd be stuck using AOL. That's where messaging is today. We're in the AOL era of messaging. Closed platforms kill innovation. Messaging needs to be open. This is the reality. And, if these messaging platforms have never opened up to allow developers to build, and they've been stifling and blocking all the innovation from the app that we use the most in our lives. And so the ability to build on top of a platform where you can't get rugged, we can all build together. And there's so many experiences that we can build that just weren't possible on top of the thing that we use every day. I think for us, the whole rally here is that messaging is now open. And so I'm going to go through a few examples. And what I like to look at is like, if you've ever thought, ooh, I wish I could, or I don't like this. I think there actually are some fundamental new possibilities with all this technology that wasn't possible before. And I just want to run through some examples of that. So no phone numbers required. I think single global identifiers have really become, our phone numbers aren't private anymore. And so the ability to protect our inbox, use a wallet address, use an identity that we own, and really own our identity and our communication is a really powerful thing going forward. A lot of scams, a lot of spams all come from actually phone number doxing and then the two-factor SIM swapping and all that stuff. And so I think this is really a big step forward that allows us to have many different types of ways that we can use our communication, not just all based on a phone number. Related to that is using message any identity on chain. We show up to different rooms in different parts of our lives and share different pieces of information with each other. And I think you should be able to do that in your private communication as well. You should be able to show up with ShaneMac.eth in some conversations, or keep my identity private in others because I don't know the person or I don't know the brand, and I should be in control of that. And so I really think that this ability to have a flexible identity model and be able to share what I want to share and protect what I want to protect is a huge shift going forward that'll help build a better inbox and have a better way to bring all of my communication together into one. block everywhere. I mean, if you've ever thought, you know, I want to block this person here, and then you start getting a message over here, like that's a big problem. And network level consent is one of those things where SMS and email, they don't have this. And therefore, you have no idea if the sending application is sending the message and they have permission to reach my inbox. So these, you know, Gmail and the messages client, they're all trying to figure out if this SMS should get through or not, but they don't really know. But this should be in control of the user. The users should be able to accept and block and have that consent. And the entire network needs to be able to follow those rules. And so this is a huge, huge innovation to allow us to really start to protect our inboxes from the spam and the scams that are coming and are already here today. I mean, I don't know about you, but like without consent, AI will win. My inboxes are already overrun by AI, whether it's on social networks, whether it's my LinkedIn InMail, whether it's my SMS box. I mean, my SMS looks like this, like, hello, are you Coach Amy? I'm Nicole. You know, it's like all day long now, my number is getting doxxed, and this is not even smart, right? This isn't getting my name right, et cetera. With AI, this is going to get really smart. These are going to get really sophisticated. These are going to feel like they're from a family member, but I need to know that I don't have the consent to this person that's messaging me. And being able to actually protect your inbox is the only way to actually move towards a safer world when AI gets a lot smarter than where it's at today. And this is another one, you know, the Timothy Chalamet, you know, it's a funny, but he sent me a message on, you know, Instagram trying to ask for a little funding for his new Dune 3 movie. And the funny thing about this is he's asking for it on Cash App, and this inability to know that the person you're talking to isn't who they say they are. And if you were going to pay them to verify that the person owns what they say they own, that it all comes together in this new world where you have secure messaging and secure money in the same space. And so there are many different ways that we need to protect our inboxes from all this kinds of spam and scams. And I think a new foundation for identity, privacy, and the way that XMTP is built will allow for that. There's also a lot of innovative ways we're thinking about, you know, protecting your inbox, proof of biometrics, proof of payment. You can imagine simply having a request box where people could pay to reach it, and you could prove who they are. You could see their identity, but also they could say, I don't know, $10. And instead of LinkedIn getting the $10 for InMail for taking my attention, I should get the $10 as the user whose attention you're taking. And so that shift, moving the ownership and the value to the people in the network, not the people in the middle, is a big shift here. And there's going to be so many different ways that we can protect the inboxes. And this is what I'm really, really excited about. I think this area of message request and different ways to protect our attention, but actually move value to us, not let the people in the middle extract it all, is a big opportunity. Interoperable payments. I mean, this is one of my favorite use cases. It's Coinbase, it's Family, it's Circle with USDC using an ENS name, and then it could be across a CBID or a Uniswap name. This ability to have such interoperability already working today is incredible. And the thing is, you can't do this today. You have global secure messaging with WhatsApp, but you can't pay across borders in WhatsApp because the payment rails are so hard that you're not able to pay across borders. But the world is global. The world is global networks. We're all connected globally. And the fact that I'm in a group chat with people in different countries shouldn't mean that I can't actually exchange value and pay people in different countries. And that alone is such a powerful, powerful concept to bring secure money and secure messaging all in one, and realize Venmo can't pay people across the border in Canada. But in this world, you have interoperable and global money with interoperable and secure messaging all in the same space. And that is going to unlock so many opportunities for developers and application builders and AI agents to help the entire world interact, build trust, and transact in ways that we've never seen before. The composability of this space is also fantastic. This is Yup, but there's also Interface and all these other applications that are looking at the on-chain world as a social graph. So whether that's Farcaster or Lens or everything happening in Ethereum or even other networks in the future, this ability to like have an aggregate view of all of these networks, but then simply reach the person that I discovered because of that network, is already starting to happen. And I saw this on Yup. It was super cool. I was able to just send a message because of what I saw on a Farcaster feed and then directly reach me on XMTP. And the composability of all of these networks and messaging coming together so we can have secure communication, but also discovery in a more open way is going to be really, really powerful that none of the closed platforms in the past have ever figured out or even had the aligned incentives to do. And this is in the Converse world. I think there's 3 areas we're really excited about. One is that every group chat can become a little microeconomy. I kind of touched on it, but I think when you bring together our global nature of networks and relationships as the world operates today, with the infrastructure for value to also simply be exchanged within that, all of a sudden there's a surface area that is more open for users and developers to go build all kinds of things that we can't even really comprehend today. And one is like a fun little way, a prediction market with friends. You can literally have fun and say, you know, who's going to win the race to the end of the street, you know, Shane or Jayha. And the ability for, I think, having fun with friends and building applications on top of groups is going to be a huge surface area for all kinds of innovation. Protect your identity, bring them all together. To me, this is a huge value add to why someone would come use a decentralized messenger like Converse. And as the kind of like SMS and email world, and even the closed messengers and the centralized messengers, people realize that like they don't own their communication. And your ability to own every piece of this, your identity, your messages, and your relationships. And really, if you ever wanted to take those with you, you can. That's the most important thing of what we're doing. If you ever were like, I need to go use a different application, or I want to log in from a different web browser, you can actually access all of that communication. And so protecting your identity, owning your identity, and bringing them all together where you can have a single inbox that has all these different identities all in one is a really powerful thing. And then the social graph of on-chain is just starting to open up, but we're already seeing the power of it. The fact that I can click on send a message and it already knows who I've transacted with, who I follow on other graphs, who follows me, what are my mutual overlaps, who was I involved with and what communities we were in. And I can see to message them or start a group with them is insanely powerful. And so I think to end, just your messages are now yours. And you know, it can feel like this might not be like that big of a thing at first, but when you really start to think about all of the pieces that are underneath this and the ability to own our identity, own our communication, own our money, and bring that all together, this is a foundational shift and a fundamental shift of, I think, how the internet will work. And the best part is that we can do it in an open way with everyone. It doesn't have to be closed. It doesn't have to be behind closed doors. And we can all work on this together. It truly is a community type movement. And I think for us, the programmable platform for messaging that is open across all surface areas is why we're doing this. So we have an open protocol, we have an open app, and we have open developer tools. And, you know, I really think a lot about a lot of this space. You know, Bitcoin wasn't simple to use in the beginning, but we used it because we believed in it, right? It wasn't better than banking at first, but we believed in it, so we used it. Ethereum was the same way. It was really hard to use early on, and sometimes it's still hard to use, but we use it because we believe in it. So I'm not sitting here today saying, hey, Converse is better than Telegram. Absolutely not. Telegram's been around for over a decade, and they have incredible user experience. They have a ton of things you can do in groups. You can go build on top of groups in Telegram. It's one of the only apps that actually allows you to build on top of it. But the entire app is owned by one guy. And we have a choice to make. Do we want to build on things that we want to have lasting businesses that we can actually be in control of? And are we going to build on top of one guy? Or are we going to build on an open network where we can all be a part of it? And I think the question for all of us is, even if it's not feature parity and as good as the applications out there today, it's actually pretty good. It now allows for groups and an open platform for apps. But the only way to make it better is to use it. And if we believe in it, we should use it. And if we use it, we'll make it better. And if we keep making it better, it'll help us all believe in it more. And so for that, I'll leave us with the rest of the call and I'll stop talking because I've been ranting for a while. But I just want to say that I'm really excited for the programmable platform for messaging and to do it in the most open way possible and to be more open than any other company in the world.
Thank you so much, Shane. Wow. Any questions, any thoughts before we get into the technology of the platform with Fabri? Great. Well, thank you for sharing that vision and the mission with us, Shane, and your inspiring thoughts about what we can build going forward. Cool. Fabri, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Sheikha.
Hi, thank you.
I am Fabri from Ephemera. I'm Dev Rel, and I'm responsible for bots. So as Shane stated it was how we can start thinking about with AI and all these new primitives, frames, and transactions, and the UX in Web3 being so much better than before, right? It feels almost Web2. So we can start thinking about like in the medium to long term, that crypto apps are going to get as good as Web2 apps, and this may allow for apps that can onboard new users, with novel use cases using frames, web views, transactions, and so on. So MessageKit is our first approach for going in this direction, and I'm going to show a practical example of the things that are available today that are available for hackathons, for hackathon devs to start working on. And yeah, just wanted to share some cool examples and things that you can start building. So if you go to MessageKit are you seeing the screen, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, so if today you go to MessageKit.ephemera.com, you will find a very simple CLI command. This allows you to create like a template for a bot and start really fast. Ideally, you should be able to deploy a very simple bot in like 10 to 20 minutes. And so going through MessageKit, you'll find, again, a lot of examples and use cases. Open source examples are available today also, which we are going to be seeing right now. And instructions for how to deploy these bots, which is also very simple. These run on Node, so you can use a service like Railway that I'm using right now, and just deploy some bots from the GitHub repo, and it should be part of this 20-minute process that I was saying. So tutorials, instructions on how to get started with MessageKit. So let's go into the main thing, which is the CLI, the fastest way to get started. So if I'm in the terminal, I can run ban create MessageKit, and this will prompt me to use one of the free examples that are also detailed in the docs. So we have a GM example, replies GM on a one-on-one conversation, one-to-one, and then we get into the group bots. So it will be as easy as this. So GM test, and this will create a folder. I already have some projects created from the CLI. You will need some variables. I don't want to show them in the screen, but you will need some variables like the private key of the wallet you're using for the bot. You can fill using this example, and once you are, it's good to go. So you can start the bot, and on the right, I have Converse. So in this case, this also showcases B3 identity. So in XMTP B3 with groups and the new Converse, you will be able to associate multiple identities to one single inbox ID, we are calling it now. So one identity in XMTP can be associated to multiple addresses. And this is just a log of how that will look, and couple this with smart wallets, and a lot of more functionality is going to be enabled through that. So if I go to, this is the wallet of the bot that I was doing just some testing. So if I say hi, this bot replies GM. And actually, I have to. Okay, very simple bot, replies GM. This is the first approach to get this going. This will not work in groups as it is. Groups will have a different kind of, more constraints, because we don't want bots to be seeing every message. And at this stage, we want to make an approach that is more explicit for bots, for groups. But first, let's see one more example. So in this example, this bot is handling subscriptions. It's also a one-on-one bot, but it's connected to a database. So let's say we want to do like Coinbase does on-chain daily. They send marketing through wallets. Let's say you want to onboard subscribers. You want to give subscribers a way to subscribe. And of course, you already have the wallet because this is XMTP and everybody's using a wallet address. So in this case, I can request, for example, more information. The bot process, I need to stop this one. The bot process, in this case, if there were more information, it will show it to me. And I want to subscribe. So now I'm subscribed. I'm part of the database of this bot. And this bot can now send me daily reminders, for example, which we are also going to see how they can be useful in a bit. And finally, let's go into the group example. And again, everything is documented here. So this was the one-on-one example. Gives you an overview of the files you need to create the bot. Very simple and straightforward code. Everything fits into like 50 lines of code. The idea is to make MessageKit to encapsulate and abstract all the complexity, and so you can just build the fun stuff on top of MessageKit. And if we go now into the group stuff, we have a couple of use cases also meant as examples. So let's see. I'm in groups. I'm going to close these ones. This one too. This one too. Okay. Now, in a group, you will need to declare commands. So commands are a big part of MessageKit. It's a way to users to communicate directly with the bot. So there is no confusion. There is no ambiguity between the users and the automated accounts. So let's say, so there is a format that you need to follow in order to declare a command. And in this case, this bot has a couple of use cases. So let's say TP. I have the bot. First, let's see how to add the bot. So we have the wallet. And if I'm a group, I can go to add members. I would add the bot. Ideally, this bot will have like a domain. So let's say this has a ENS domain. So I add it as a new user. And now, once the bot is here, I can, for example, say, run help command. First, I need to start the bot. And we're going to see on the left how the messages are logged. So again, let's try a help command. This help command is generated from, generated automatically from all this command file. Again, this command file has a very strict structure and allows us to have this like a standard between different bots. Eventually, apps are going to be able to feed from this file, maybe showcase command suggestions, maybe showcase what is possible. So by defining a standard, also MessageKit, of course, is open source, as everything in Ephemera is open, and this is going to be interoperable right now. So it works with every app on top of the XMTP ecosystem, as Coinbase, Family Wallet, and so on. So let's see a tipping use case. This is not going to be transferring real tokens, but it's just for you to get the idea. So let's say I have Bo in the group and I want to tip Bo 20 degen or 20 tokens. I just did that. And in this case, the bot just notified me via DMs that I sent tokens. So again, notifications via DMs, commands. Now we're going to see frames. These are all primitive Lego blocks that when come together can create these novel experiences. And we are trying to put out as much Lego blocks as possible so we can have fun, a lot of fun, as much fun as possible building bots. We can even try with emojis, or I'm going to show emojis soon. So for example, let's see how we can trigger a frame. And in this case, send one ETH to USDC. So this command is declared here, send. That was a swap. So send one ETH to Bo. Okay. The send command sends to a specific user that I want to send. I want to generate, let's say, a payment link on the go. So this is the group knows Bo address. I can then is sent as a parameter to the frame. Now the frame knows the amount, knows the address, generates the payment link, and you can click it, and this will be available very soon with frame transactions. So this is one example. Then we can go into swap, and maybe for swap we want to be more loose in the prompt. So swap is powered by AI. So I can do like one SDC, swap one ETH to SDC. So now it generates. Not yet. I was doing something wrong here. Swap one ETH. Okay, we'll see the AI power swap in a bit. And then in this example, this is using one single frame. This single frame is like a multi-purpose frame. So this is like, it's called base frame, and this is like in its base form. So you can navigate the frame, you can select swap, send, and everything is like, you can also do stuff like using the input from the frame. So this is also a good way to see like frames can be triggered via bot parameters or also via just the UI and clicking the buttons. Let's see what else we can do. Yeah, again, we can trigger frames, games. So I can do like game help in the case I want to see which games are available, and this will trigger some games available from the. So I can play Wordle. If you don't know, what Wordle is a very cool Web3 game we use for frames, and it's actually very popular between our team also. And lastly, agents. So now let's trigger GPT. In this case, the example is using GPT. So agent, tell a joke, and hopefully it's going to be a good joke. Why don't Web3 developers play hide and seek? Because good like hiding when everything is on a public blockchain. That was a funny joke, and yeah, so that's how now you get AI, and new use cases are possible, and also AI can parse commands in a different way. So let's see of some of the examples that are working today. Let's say like live bots that we can play around. So again, a swap bot, one is to USDC. You will tag the bot in this case as if it were a user. Then we can also trigger, for example, using emojis. With the search emoji, we can trigger Wordle if you want to play. Also a good way to showcase that you can use reactions, which is a different content type in XMTP, but gets you as a string, and you can react on that. And finally, one of the examples that Shane showcased is, okay, we have a group, we have new primitives, we have transactions, we have frames. We have an interoperable platform, no intermediaries. So what else can be fun in a group chat? So maybe creating tosses, as we call them, between users, or just for just general toss. So will it rain tomorrow, for example? And this is going to, again, use, as we've seen before, the parameters from the frame. Is sending the AI is making is parsing this prompt as commands, more strict commands, also declaring the command file on the left. Then the command is, because this is kind of like an intent from the AI, so MessageKit comes ready for the AI to execute intent, to be more agentic. So in the background, this has triggered a command internally, and now we see it as a frame. And in this case, it got all the parameters, and the ones that it didn't get generates automatically. So the default was $10, and yes or no, of course, implies that it's a binary choice. And now if we want to include someone from the group, so I can say like coin toss, let's wage with Shane, who will win at Padel for $50. So the bot has, okay, this one was tough. Who will win at Padel? Okay, this one worked. Extracted the parameters, Shane and Fabri. Again, default amount is 10. Again, MessageKit is live to start experimenting with this and to build cool use cases and have fun also.
Fantastic. Wow, Fabri, thank you so much. What a great walkthrough of the tools we have open today. As we are at time, but if anyone has any questions, please feel free to raise them. Let's see, maybe there's a few quick ones we can take care of. Otherwise, I'm sure you can find Fabri and the team on Farcaster and on Twitter, where you can reach out directly. I would also like to see if, Naomi, would you like to talk a little bit about engineering updates? I think we have some fantastic things coming up. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
Yeah, thanks, Jayha. I feel like previously we had what we're working on and what's up next, and I just moved everything to what we're working on. We have grown the team recently, and we have a lot more hands on deck, so a lot more things are moving. So we're working on performance, smart contract wallet support, MLS support for one-to-one, group chat web. Stay tuned for an update on that very, very soon. The Converse app, and also decentralization. So there's a lot of efforts moving forward right now. So hopefully we'll have some really exciting things to share for you guys soon.
Great, great. Thanks so much, Naomi. All right. Well, any thoughts, any last thoughts before we head out? All right, great. Meeting chock full of mission, vision, and technology. Thank you so much, Shane and Fabri, for sharing with us today. And we'll be sure to share the recording out as well. Thanks everyone for joining.